Hello everyone, I am Kavishri and you are watching my YouTube channel Let's Explore. In the previous class we understood about what did liberal nationalism stand for: middle classes, aristocrat and also the conservatives, middle class. So liberal freedom stood for middle classes just to have a political, economical and other individual rights or freedom. For conservatives, liberal nationalism stand for to undo the changes of the Napoleonic Wars. For middle classes, liberal nationalism stand for to have the freedom of nation states. In this class, we are going to discuss in detail about the age of revolutionaries during 1830 to 1848. So as we all know, the national revolutionist movement, it started by the middle class elites and also the liberal nationalists, who were comprised of the different professionals, educated middle classes and so on. But the exact revolution stood with the first upheaval of France. So in France during 1830, the Bourbon kings who restored the power after the conservatives reactions and also actions. So that power was overthrown by the liberal nationalists. What was taken by the Bourbon kings, in which they restored the power which was taken away and overthrown by the liberals, and they formed a constitutional monarch in France 1830. But with the help of Lord Louis Philippe, they formed constitutional monarch. Hence Duke Metternich said, we have understood in detail about Duke Metternich, why he remarked, when France sneezes, the rest of the Europe catches cold. So because of this change, the event of Greek War of Independence is the event which mobilized the nationalist feelings. So how it started? By observing the events of France, that is during 1830, how the Bourbon kings, which was restored the power, was overthrown by the liberal nationalists, and they also formed constitutional monarch. In the same way, it sparkled even in Europe, and the event of a Greek War of Independence mobilized national feelings among the Europeans. So hence, poets and also artists, they started to praise or laud Greece as the cradle of European civilization. So here Lord Byron, he was the English poet. He says, and also he wanted to participate in war. He organizes funds and also he participated he took active participation in war, and he died of fever in 1824. Finally, the Treaty of Constantinople of 1832 recognized Greece as a independent nation. So what made the Greeks to have the spirit of nationalism, how they attained the independence nation? That is because of the nationalist feelings and also romantic imagination. What is this romantic imagination? It is nothing but the cultural. It is nothing but the movement of culture which developed a national interest by the romantic artists in the form of art, poetry, songs, music and so on. This nationalist movement not only brought up by this war and also the territorial expansion, even the local folklore. Folklore are nothing but the local happenings in which it started to explain through this with their own accent of songs and musics. So this local folklore, it played a vital role in developing the national interest among the illiterates and also common men. This common man, in Greece it is called as dasvok. Dasvok is nothing but common people. So this dasvok and also folklore, they had a common interaction, and in which this folklore played a very important role in order to have the modern nationalist message. They were started to provide the nationalist ideas and what are the ideals of other places, and then that led to have the romantic imagination, and common people also got the idea of national interest. So in this way they got the idea of national feelings. So this this romantic artist, they neglected the science and reasoning. Instead they gave more importance for the songs, poetry and also music in order to spread the feeling of oneness or loyalty towards nation. So in this way people, the common people and even the illiterates also got to know more about the modern message of nationalist feelings. So in this way, it spread out the national interest among the people. And this age of revolutions not only paved the way to have independent nation states, and not only it gave the sportive to have the national interest, the people also struggled to lead their life. So what made the people to suffer from hunger? So that lead to hunger, hardship and popular revolt. That's the topic in which we are going to understand about why there was hunger. Due to the overgrowth of population, the people started to struggle to feed their life, and they started to lead the life of pauper. The increase in population could not meet the demands of the people, in which the grains could not meet the demands of the people. Only the population increased, but the grains or the crop cultivation or the grains could not maintain the speed of the overpopulation. So that led to the acute shortage of food, and also the people lost their jobs, and there was the problem of unemployment, which led to the hardship of the people. So based on this, they led the pauperism, and there was also stiff competition between the handmade and also the finished goods. And why there was more? Because demand was more for handmade, but the machine made goods and commodities were cheaper than the handmade. So there was a stiff competition between these two categories of the people, and because of this, that led to the popular revolt in the city of Silesia. So this Silesia Revolt, it is between the weavers and also the contractors. So here contractors, they gave more raw materials for them, and instead in turn they got even finished goods, but they were not paid proper wages for them or proper remuneration for their work. So that led to the revolt, and that was addressed in the newspaper. Journalist Wilhelm, he explained about the Silesia Revolt, and the people led the life of pauperism. This is about the hunger, hardship and popular revolt. Apart from getting independent nation states, people also suffered a very hardship life during the revolution. And now the revolution of liberals. Nationalist leaders, these liberal nationalists were repeatedly suppressed by these conservatives and also the monarch. With the full support of monarch, autocratic and also these conservatives start to suppress the activities of liberal nationalists. But still, the revolution of liberals couldn't stop, and events of February 1848, it abdicated the monarch. Where this happened? In France. So they abdicated. Abdication is nothing but the removal of monarch, that is the rule by the king. So after abdication of the monarch, they formed a republic with the male universal suffrage. So all male people were given a right to vote, and they proclaimed France as a republic again, democratic republic in 1848. Then, but in the other part of the Europe, but still even Germany, Italy and Prussia, Austria were not regarded as independent nation states. Hence, the people of middle classes, elites and all the professionals and also the liberal nationalists, they wanted to demand for the constitution with the nation unification, because even the Germany and also Italy, it was fragmented and they was under the control of other kingdoms. So they wanted to unify the kingdom, Germany, Italy, and they wanted to have the unified nation, the unification of the nation states. They demanded for the constitution and nation unification, and also it should be based on the parliamentary principles. For example, freedom of press. They wanted constitution based on the parliamentary principles, that is freedom of press. In German regions, political association, including the middle classes, they started to they decided and they started to give their all support through the votes for all German associations. In order to do this, they moved towards the city of Frankfurt in Germany on May 18th, 1848. Almost 831 representatives, they convened, they moved and convened, which was held in the St. Paul Church. Later, there in the St. Paul Church, they drafted constitutional monarch. But at the time the monarch was Frederick Wilhelm IV. He refused to sign for the constitutional monarch, which was under a certain terms and conditions. Constitutional monarch means the monarchical rule will be deteriorated. So in order to take the control of monarch, so he refuses and he joins with the other monarch, and with the strong support of the other monarch and autocracy and conservatives, he totally suppresses the liberal nationalist movement, and finally the middle classes also started to give lack of interest, and their lack of interest also led to the disband of the parliament. So finally this monarchical rule, they understood that so whatever the revolution crosses, it will be ended with the providing certain concessions. So in order to make the people be under their control and to make their favorism, so just they provided two concessions, that is serfdom and also bonded labor. That is in Habsburg and also in other places they gave the concessions, and that led to the that is the revolution of liberalism. So like this it ended the struggle of liberals with the disbanding or the fledgling of the parliament which was drafted. Well children, let us recall what we have discussed in this class. In this class we discussed about the age of revolutions between 1830 and 1848. First upheaval took place in France 1830, and Bourbon king's power was overthrown by the liberal nationalists, and they formed a constitutional monarch. And later the event of Great War of Indian Independence mobilized the national feelings, and it sparked off throughout the Europe. Poets and artists also praised the Greece as the cradle of Europe civilization. And they formed the Treaty of Constantinople because the part of the Greek was under the control of Ottoman Turks. So the Treaty of Constantinople of 1832 recognized Greece as a independent nation. That is because of the romantic imagination and national feelings how they had, because even the folklore also took a very important role, and because of that the illiterates and also the Das Folk, they got the idea of modern ideas, modern nationalist movement ideas. And then about the Frederick, how they started to have this Frankfurt convened the assembly and how it was disbanded. Thank you. Well enough.